Okay, good evening, people. This is a continuation of the Voodoo story from part 12, and my relative who had gone through this thing and had been healed by this spiritual healer in no time kind of was very impressed. Everybody was very impressed by that, and what happened to me a couple of days after that, I got a growth on my belly, just over my belly button, a little over my belly button, and it was about the size of a chestnut. And because I was, we were also, hey, why don't you just go to her and sort of like thing. And I was thinking, yeah, I mean, she can deal with a psychosis like that in no time. She was probably this thing was is going to be no problem at all for her. So I go over there, and she says, "No, that's not the kind of thing she can deal with. But there is a lady in the Blue Mountains, in a place called Millbank, which is way up in the mountains, and she can deal with that kind of thing." So we were already planning a tour. At the time I had a lot of guests, and so I suggested to them. I said, "Well, what do you think if we incorporate that in the tour and we just drive up there?" And they all thought that was great, absolutely great. Yes, of course, yeah, let's do that, and that's going to be interesting and fun and so on. So okay, so we go on our tour, and then we drive up that road towards Millbank, and the road was absolutely horrific. It was just, I mean, I don't know how long it was. It was 30, 40 kilometers, but it was like it took us, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours because I had to like drive in nearly walking pace. So anyway, after an exhausting trip, and we reached up there, and we found the place, and there was quite a lot of people. She seemed to be very popular and had accumulated there, and we're all waiting for her. So I waited my turn, and then eventually it was my turn, and she said, "Yeah, but nobody can come in except for me." And I said, there was a student of medicine who was really, really interested in the whole thing, and I asked her, "Well, can she at least come in there?" And she said, "All right, one person can come in there." So she brought me into this room, and then she was at the window and said something, and then she came over to me, and then she said, I need to undress." So I got undressed, and then she uh, took her hand, and she was doing something on my balls. I was a bit surprised, and anyway, suddenly she pulled out her hand, and she had this big black moth in her hand. It was about this. I mean, it was this one of these giant moths. So it was alive, and so we were all very astonished, and especially the girl who was the medicine. She was like absolutely blown away. She was like, "But this is just freaking, what is going on?" and so on. So anyway, so then I I gave her money, and she said, "Okay, well, this is going to make your growth go away because now the problem is gone, and your growth will go away." So anyway, so we drove off, and on the way down, of course, we were talking about the whole thing, and the lady said, the girl said, "This is just freaking amazing how she just pulled out that thing out of me. I mean, she couldn't even believe it," and so on. But to tell you the truth, I was not so convinced because when she was at the window, I was watching her quite closely, and she had her hands hanging out of the window behind her, and I seriously think that somebody put that in her hand uh, from outside, and because she came right over from the window and then started doing this thing. So as I said, I was not. I was not really at all convinced. Um, so anyway, and the growth didn't go away, and it stayed there. And so I went to the doctor a little later, I think a week after when we reached back, and and the doctor said, "Yeah, it's nothing bad, it's nothing malicious, malignant. It's just like a sort of a little growth that is, no, not. Ah, we're getting a visitor. Hello, you coming to visit us, huh? You want to be on camera too?" So yeah. So she said, "Okay." Um, and he said, "Yeah, well, it won't go away by itself, that's for sure. So there's only I can either get it operated, or I just have to live with it." And he said, "But as it is no threat to me, I can just as well live with it, whatever I choose to do." Yeah. And well, because I'm not such a great fan of operations, so I just decided just to live with it. And and I only went to Germany in the 32 years only two times, and the next time was 13 years after that incident. And I visited that relative, and lo and behold, when I visited her, this thing suddenly burst open, and it's like a whitish fluid came out, and it was gone, and it just disappeared like that. That was it. And yeah, that was the end of it. And I mean, how weird is that? That it's, that had some kind of weird correlation with that, and that it burst exactly after we met 13 years later. It's truly weird, 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 weird. Anyway, so that is the story for tonight, and please stay tuned. Tomorrow is going to be another wicked story, and yeah, and see you. And if you can make a little PayPal donation, I'm actually think I'm gonna put my NCB account underneath it too. Maybe you could transfer something to my account on the NCB. At the moment I'm really hurting badly. I mean, I'm basically have everything for sale. I'm trying to sell everything I have just to get some money. Uh, it's just in the off season. I've already had it just scraped through the season. Now as off season, it's really tough, and I want to keep the channel going, and I just need some little funds to, I want to travel a bit. I want to go places to show you the real Jamaica and talk to people on the road and all sorts of things I want to do, but I just need a little bit of funds for that. So if you can support the channel until I get monetized, which will probably, with the progress at the moment it's going, it might happen in 2 to 3 months or something. So it's somehow I have to get over that period. If I can't get a land sale or something, might consider, buying some land. I have up here. I'm going to sell some smaller parcels. Otherwise, I have some basically quite big properties, which yeah, I bought on a loan, and that loan is slowly eating me up too. So we'll see. So anyway, thanks for the support, and definitely like and subscribe. That would be a already huge help, because I really need 1,000 subscriptions, and the subscriptions are getting slow. Although the views are getting more, but the subscriptions are, yeah, they're coming in, but they're not coming in quite in a satisfactory pace. I'd love to have a bit more. Just press that subscribe button. It's not doesn't cost you $1, and it would help me a lot. So have have a good day or good evening, whatever you have, and I'll see you in the next video. It's gonna be another wicked story. All right. Bye bye.